Cek.
Am I audible? Check.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, the honorable adjudicators, debaters, and ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the semi-final round of English debating competition of the first OASE PTKI se-Indonesia 2021. In this first session of the day, I have the honor to introduce you to the panel of adjudicator and the participating teams. On the panel of adjudicator, we have Bu Syarifah Dahliana, PhD from UIN AR-RANIRY, Bu Rosita Tandos, PhD from UIN Syarif Hidayatullah, Pak Henry Iwansyah, MA from UIN Raden Intan Lampung. As for the participating teams, we have Stain Al-Kausar Bengkalis, IAIN Kediri, Stain Sorong, and UIN Sunan Ampel. Let's start this session by launching the motion. The motion will be chosen by the spinning system that is shown on the screen. Okay, I hope everyone is ready. For the operator, please start spinning the motion. So the chosen motion for this round is that media shouldn't report or comment upon terrorist acts. Now we're also going to spin off the position for each team. Let's begin with the position for Stain Al-Kausar Bengkalis. Stain Al-Kausar Bengkalis will act as the opening opposition of the House. Stain Al-Kausar Bengkalis will act as the opening opposition of the House. Now let's start with IAIN Kediri. IAIN Kediri will act as the closing opposition of the House. IAIN Kediri will act as the closing opposition of the House. And now for Stain Sorong. Stain Sorong will act as the closing government of the House. Stain Sorong will act as the closing government of the House. And that will automatically put UIN Sunan Ampel as the opening government of the House. Now that we have the motion and the position of each team settled, please allow us a minute to set up the screen for the debate. Okay, all set. Here comes the time for case building. You have 15 minutes for the case building. We provide a timer in the corner of the screen. Please also keep in mind that you are supervised during the case building. No electronic devices allowed, and you may only discuss with your partner. And please keep being on cam. The case building time starts now. Stein Bengkalis, please show both of the speakers' face on the screen so we can see both of you clearly. Thank you. Okay, everyone, we've reached the end of the case building session. Before we start the debate, I will explain the regulations. Each speaker has 7 minutes at max to deliver their arguments and rebuttals. At 1 minute, the POI can be delivered. Those who want to state their POI may interrupt directly and speak once allowed by the performing debater. At 6 minutes, the POI time is over. And at 7 minutes, if the speaker hasn't stopped speaking, the moderator has right to interrupt and stop the speech. Without further ado, to open the case from the government team, please welcome the Prime Minister from UIN Sunan Ampel, Surabaya. Time and place is yours.
Okay, tes, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Cahyo and this is Audrey. We are the opening governments from UIN Sunan Ampel, Surabaya. We would like to propose why media should not report or comment upon terrorism. But before that, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to define what does this motion is about. But before that, as we know that terrorism is an action that has been planned from a particular groups to conduct acts or terror in various forms of violence to parties that are considerably potentially victimized. And from there on, we can take a line that even in this recent day, the terrorism is the major issue in this days and age, and we cannot deny how harmful this terrorism is capable in doing this kind of thing. And before that, ladies and gentlemen, and why media should not report or comment upon terrorism, because we believe that under the side of the house we should agree on the motion and media should not report or comment upon terrorism. Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, the first point why we shouldn't report, why should media should not report or comment upon terrorism is because these media can be used as a propaganda tools. What does it mean, ladies and gentlemen? Propaganda tools. Terrorist acts have started to take place and have been in the spotlight of the mass media since the Bali bombings that took place on October 12, 2020. I mean 2002. And the thing that is very odd is when the thing that is very odd is the emergence of investigation that state about this kind of thing one day after this accidents in the Bali bombings happens, and it's not even after 24 hours, ladies and gentlemen. It's only because of several hours after that, and this happens because of the media coverage. This media coverage plays an important role as the spreading of this media or the news about the terrorism, and this will be used, and this can be used as the propaganda tools because based on these descriptions about this Bali bombing, it is clear that the theoretic contains a lot of propaganda and interest in it, so that by having this media being brought up and these actions being become the news and headlines of a particular newspapers or even the media like televisions, they will get lots of thing like a support or something that can prejudice their actions in their life because of particular reasons that think that what they are doing at that time is think that this that it's okay to do so. And then not only that, ladies and gentlemen, the second point is because it contains of lots of mutualism symbiosis. What does it mean, ladies and gentlemen? So it's not only our own personal arguments. There have been several researchers that state that many discourse that the mass media and terrorism have a mutualism symbiosis in reporting this kind of actions. There are several mass media that use moment of tragedy of terror as something that can gain profit when it is reported. How, ladies and gentlemen? As we know that terrorism is not something that happens habitually, daily, that happens nowadays or tomorrow it also happens. No, terrorism is an action that only happens in a certain times that because of particular reasons, and this becomes the reasons why media willing to reporting this kind of thing because all of the people, all of the publics will get interest on it, and then by reporting it, the media can gain the interest of the publics, and then it also simultaneously.
POI, please. POI, please.
No, thank you. And this will also benefit them in particular reasons, such as this kind of profits. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, for the terrorists themselves, reporting about their actions is really needed. Why? Because by being reported, they will get lots of benefits, such as spreading the ideology of their actions, giving their reasonings being explored, and also it even can gain lots of followers because of their actions is probably being prejudiced as being justifiable from a particular group, and this also bring lots of disadvantages or drawbacks for us as the publics or society that don't related on the two parties. And then it is not surprising that their various actions, action that is contents of violence, immediately spread. They will intentionally spread video recordings of testimonials by sending successes or video clips to the mass media because they want their actions, no thank you, because their actions want to be explored at that time, and they want all of the people to know that they are capable in doing so. And this because of the media that is able to report this kind of actions, and even the television that's reporting that kind of actions, their actions will be prejudiced, the reasons will be broke, and even their ideology that is brought by them can gain lots of support. And because as we know that the terrorism is not because of a particular reasons that from individuals, that is comes from a personal reasonings, but it also it mostly comes from ideology that is involving nationalisms, which is a sensitive issues that become if it is related to the public who think that they have lots of nationalism sense. And then the role of this media seems is indeed the main thing in the problem of the theory, because it is able to produce decisions, it's able to give a mutualism symbiosis to both parties, and even to gain a legitimate action or prejudice that their action is
please.
Thank you. No, and then this the role of the mass media can function well if it is what they are broadcasting, what they are reporting is indeed about the fact, but as we reflected on the current status quo, they are not reporting, so they just think that by gaining lots of profits is indeed the main purpose, or even the purpose or the goals of their actions, so they don't really think about the facts of it. Therefore, under this house, the house, we should believe that media shouldn't report or comment upon terrorism. Thank you.
The Prime Minister spent 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Then to start the case from the opposition team, please welcome the opposition leader from Stein Bengkalis. Time and place is yours.
Is my voice clearly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Ulfa Salvia from Stein Bengkalis as the opening opposition, and we do not agree with the motion that media shouldn't report or comment upon terrorist acts. You said before that media comment or report not about this terrorist acts. It will be a propaganda and will be spread fear. You might think they love it, but what they say ideologically is greater level of public fear and uncertainty, and it will raise crime opportunity. Everyone's scared about terrorism. Everyone worry about their family. And how can we know any information if media not reported or comment anything about this terrorist acts? If media not reported this acts, we do not know. It will, no, media reported or not, it never be end. If the terrorists never be end, it the same. If there is no difference, reported or not reported. But if we reported these acts in media or community, it act, at least we know how to eliminate the influence of the acts, and we can know what terrorists do with their plan. Like if they make a game to spread the terrorism, or their place to make a plan or something and stuff. And if we know the acts of terrorism by the media, we can there actually give we the advice what we should do to avoid the acts of terrorism. And the terrorism is the acts that use violence and threats of violence that create an atmosphere that will be spread fear, which can cause damage to objects, environment, public facilities, or international facilities with their acts and ideology. Deciding not to cover news stories because it's terrorist acts and afraid of negative social effects is a like process that once started, it's difficult to stop. And then conclusion that we have to report it, the terrorist acts are committed, so that we can eliminate and anticipate the acts of terrorism. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The opposition leader spent 3 minutes and 39 seconds. 3 minutes and 39 seconds. Please allow us a minute to deal with some technical issues here. Okay, to continue our debate today, I would like to call the Deputy Prime Minister from UIN Sunan Ampel, Surabaya. Time and place is yours.
That's my voice. Can hear clearly?
Yes.
Okay, first is I want to read a bit about the leader of the opening opposition is that say that the we cannot report because the can make everyone scared of developing their activities. They use more social media to spread ideas to radicalism and influence other people to join their group. Evidently, its influence has entered the college campus. According to the BNPT data, there are 7 universities that have been exposed to radicalism, and recently, 3 alumni of the Real University only were arrested by Densus 88 for storing devices for terrorists and acts in the student area room located in the campus environment. To be printed to the general public. On the other hand, terrorist actors need publicity to show their existence. If you're not reported, terrorists use the media activity or passively active use of the social media through their publication want to convey message to fear to a wide audience, polarise public opinion, try to attract new members to the terrorist movement, decide the security forces by spreading false information, and raise public concern of victims to pressure the government to make comprehension of concession as they police distract the public from unwanted issue in the hope that their news of terror fill the front page of the media and arrest public disagreement with the government. And ladies and gentlemen, according to the head of the National Counter-Terrorism Agency, BNPT, Suhardi Alias, in a hearing meeting, RDP, with Commission 3 of the DPR on May 30, 2018, terror acts that have occurred in Indonesia is in the list that have been carried out by different terrorist networks. According to him, there are 5 terror networks that are currently still active, namely Jamaah Islamiyah, Jamaah Ardul Tauhid, and Jamaah Asul Tauhid, Jad, and Jamaah Asul Syariah, and other. And from what we conveyed by the head of the NPT, it can be concluded that the national of radicalism and terrorism thrive in Indonesia. Their activities are planned and structured. They are constantly moving to the create news nets and shall be recruiting young people as members. They teach that they are ready to die to different regions on the basis of misrepresented argument, justify violence, attack plainly, and even don't hesitate to sacrifice relatives in achieving the goal of their struggle. And next is meanwhile, passive use of the media include as an external communication network among terrorists and groups, learning the latest technique for dealing with the terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, from the media report, getting information about the latest activities of the security force is dealing with the terror that they are doing, enjoying excessive media report related of the excesses of their action, terror to create public fear and prevent the correct of individual security forces, and identity future target and find out the public reaction of their action. That the purpose of the terrorism is to spread the fear. That's why we in this house believe that we not must report the terrorism. And ladies and
POI, please.
No, thank you. There are 2 important.
POI, please.
First, no, please. Mass media first. Terrorists are not only want to be known by the public, but also means of conveying message and the motives behind their action. The suicide bombing carry out will raise question in the mind of the public about the most motivate their action. The media through the news from people will provide an explanation of the motive of the terrorists. And the second goal is to get the respect and sympathy of the public. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the same understanding that will potentially support the terrorist act they carry out by the spreading the news and drop that have ideological roots. And
please.
Not, thank you. And have the same goal, and the terrorists have the potential to get respect and sympathy, which eventually join the group with the personal awareness. Through the media, terrorist message can be propagated faster and more convincingly. The spread of the news containing the message of the terrorists show the important role on the media supporting terror acts. In addition, excessive media export can help terrorist groups and develop bigger and broader groups to carry out their action. And this is the example. This one of the thing as ready to make a terrorist group there in Indonesia, assessed by a terrorism research from the Peace Inspiration Foundation, Taufik Andre. There is no situation that show terrorist group are exploiting weakness and vacuum, but they only limit to hibernation, and that only happen to large group like Jamaah Islamiyah. But yeah, of the splinter group, they are governed all the time to prevent the development of radicalism, terrorism, and maximum prevention efforts are needed from government and all components of society, and including the most important in the role of the mass media. Thank you for the time that is for me.
The Deputy Prime Minister spent 5 minutes and 25 seconds. 5 minutes and 25 seconds. Thank you for the opening government. Now please welcome the Deputy Leader of Opposition. Stein Bengkalis, time and place is yours.
You hear my voice clearly?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This house don't believe that media shouldn't report or comment upon terrorist acts. And here I have some point about why we don't believe in this motion. Before that, I want to rebuttal. They said that media can be what? So you want to cover terrorist attack because you want to eliminate their influence. So my question is, do you then want to covering demonstration news because you want to eliminate their influence too? Do you also want to cover police shooting of unarmed individuals because you want to citizens to think well or good of the police? Or do you still want to cover the crimes of the government because you want people to have confidence on their government? So here, I have some points about why we don't believe in this motion. Deciding not to cover news because news stories because it's terrorist acts and afraid of negative social effects is like a process that once started, it difficult to stop. Okay, now imagine that again. So if you want cover terrorist attacks because want to eliminate their influence, do you then want to cover demonstration news too because you want to eliminate their influence? It's pretty easy to imagine a world where shooting wars are going in the street. Meanwhile, the news media restrict themselves to sport, weather news, etc. They restrict about it. They will restrict about what happens outside. The media acts as a many lens camera for open society, revealing the evil that terrorists do and helping bring them justice, or at least presenting them in the court of public opinion. Presenting them is what happened outside, so they can be aware with that. Terrorists' purpose in creating fear through their unpredictability. If any citizen was left in the dark without any news about what's happening outside and without press reporting, so terrorists would have such a field day among the deprived of media. So they will feel free because everything they do, media would not report or comment on it. So they will be free. I don't give so just media would not report us, and then we can do this. Media will not comment or report about what happened outside. Now you might think terrorists would like it because one of their purpose is to propaganda, a high profile and proud. So their purpose to spread hatred and propaganda will come true. Maybe that's what you said. But what they seek ideologically is greater and bigger levels of public fear and uncertainty. Fear and uncertainty are the terrorists' greatest purposes, most valued tools. And in a world without media reporting of terrorism, fear and uncertainty would climb exponentially. As long as white media does exist and deliver a message to both policy makers and sympathizers, then the media access is the sufficient purposes. Terrorism, ladies and gentlemen, terrorism doesn't occur less often as media don't report or comment on it. Terrorists will find other methods for delivering their cruel message. And perhaps they will likely to be step up their acts in frequency or intensity until they can be ignored by media, until they cannot be ignored by media. So, from my statement above, we can conclude that the media exists ideally to inform the incidents of terrorist attack is vital information that must be shared. People have right to know. People need to know. And trying to suppress it only makes it more powerful. However, there's definitely room for improvement on how sensibly and responsibly these things are reported. Okay? There is definitely room for improvement on how sensibly and responsibly these things are reported. Okay, that's all my argument. Thank you for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The Deputy Leader of Opposition spent 5 minutes and 2 seconds. 5 minutes and 2 seconds. Thank you, the opening opposition. Now please welcome from the closing side of the House, the Member of Government, EAN Sorong. EAN Sorong, time and place is yours.
Check, check. Is it my voice clear?
Yes.
Okay, thanks to the honorable adjudicators for the opportunity has given to us. For start, let me show you our team's finding case building about the motion media shouldn't report or comment terrorist acts. I want to rebuttal leader of opposition argument that media reported or not terrorism is never end, but terrorism is use media a lot to spread and it can increase terrorism. And if media report, some people who has mental illness would be interested to be terrorism because they're gonna think that to be terrorism is fine. And how about children? If they were watch terrorism in media like television, they will contain and follow that because we all know that every children's age is the age to want more of what they watch. Okay, and according to the Prime Minister said before, I want to tell you a strong argument about this motion. Why media shouldn't report or comment upon terrorist acts, because the media is the oxygen of terrorists. Terrorists will be very happy if it's reported. It said that when it was highlighted on TV, the terrorists who were at home and the police were there, the media became terrorist spying on them, which is
POI, please.
Thank you. And we all know that in this global era, along with the development of technology, the spectrum of terror development is also increasing, and this is something that difficult for us to overcome. Besides that, the terrorists apparently enjoyed the media coverage. The spotlight of the publication is considered as the existence of their group. Even though they are small in quality, they will still be exposed and noticed by the public because of the role of the media. And in addition, we all know the enthusiasm of the media is present information about terrorism is feared to actually create a new spirit or awaken terrorism. Like, without reducing the freedom to information, we have references and wisdom that every fact cannot be broadcast naked. What is good is that there must be a process of editing, verification, and other considerations. And in addition, if the media reports or comments, it will cause the perception in the community. For example, during the church bombing in the Surabaya area in 2018, because the media reported in the incident, which is made non-Muslim religious communities afraid to worship for fear that similar incident could occur in their church. And it's not only in the Surabaya community, but the impact on communities throughout of Indonesia. Thank you.
The Member of Government spent 3 minutes and 7 seconds. 3 minutes and 7 seconds. To continue the debate, I'll yield the floor to the Member of Opposition from EAN Kediri. But first, would you please drop the background so we can see your face clearly? Yeah. We will wait until the background is changed, and then you can
Okay, wait up a second.
start. Okay, sure.
Is it clear?
Yep. Clear,
All right.
crystal clear. Okay. Thank you. Now, time and place is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first speaker of the opposition. Today's motion, as we see that the media shouldn't report or comment upon the terrorist act. But before going on to my constructive argument, I would like to give the rebuttals against the government. The first one, the government said that the usage of the media is like, giving the propaganda tool and giving the mental illness. We totally disagree to the government arguments, because we see that the usage of the media right here, ladies and gentlemen, is to give the information and transferring the news, ladies and gentlemen. So this is not because of we showed up about the terrorist act and it will lead to the propaganda tool, ladies and gentlemen. And then the second rebuttal, I would like to give the argument about the mental illness that is mentioned by the government team. She mentioned that the mental illness could be happened because of the idea of the news that is showed up to the children. Now, before going on to that, children has the authority of the parents to give the limitation of watching the television, the media, social, and any other media, ladies and gentlemen. So this is not related at all to the media, that the usage for transferring the data, the news, and any other etc., ladies and gentlemen. Now, coming on to my constructive argument, that the usage of the media, ladies and gentlemen, is to report the terrorist act, and we could give the idea of how to limit the terrorist act and how to give the idea of not knowing about knowing about the terrorist act. So we have to say that here the media is misdefined. So I absolutely disagree to the given motion and the government, ladies and gentlemen, because the media itself developed through their professional, and they still obey the code, the ethic code, ladies and gentlemen. So the journalist has their own rule to consider what kind of the news, what kind of the idea of the caption that they will show up to the society, ladies and gentlemen. Now, coming on to the next, it is about the media itself. If we talk about the hoax that happens in the social media as we see nowadays, the Ministry of the Communication is already giving the idea or the solution to decrease the hoax, ladies and gentlemen. How can we focus on decreasing the hoax, ladies and gentlemen? By adding the feeling or by adding the literacy to the curriculum of the educational system, ladies and gentlemen. So we educate not only about the society outside, but also the students at school. We can educate them by telling this media should be followed because this one is the verified account to know about the terrorist act, ladies and gentlemen. And then now going on to my continuing argument, it is about the how to differentiate between the verified and the unverified account, ladies and gentlemen. To know about the verified account, we could see, no thank you, we could see the blue one on the social media. So it is not only the media that is television, newspaper, it's already old time, ladies and gentlemen. Now we focus on the media that is on social in the youth era, ladies and gentlemen. So coming back to my argument before, so to verified and to unverified account, to know that we could see the blue account right there, and we could see and tell to the society that the verified one that showing on to the idea of this information about the terrorist act is the narracy news, or we could say also the following to follow the Jakarta Post. They give the news about the latest, hottest, and also the credible news, ladies and gentlemen. So we totally disagree to the given motion if the media is giving the fear and then the okay, thank you. Yes,
Okay.
please, the POI.
Okay. Can you give us the example that you have information or example case about your argument? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good job. So the example of this terrorist act is that we see now a few years back then, if there is Amrozi in bomb 1 and bomb 2 in Bali, how can we know about that? And then how can we reduce to know what the Amrozi does is by knowing the media that like Narasi or in Metro TV that is credible. They don't really give us about the fear. No way. They give us the information about this act is totally not really inspired, and also this act is totally doesn't belong to be in our country, ladies and gentlemen. So that is the example. Thank you. Now going on to my next argument, it is about the use of media is actually aimed at increasing awareness of sensitive nature of media reports on terrorism, ladies and gentlemen. So by cooperating between themselves, for instance, through their professional organization, in order to avoid a race for sensational news and image which plays to the hands of terrorism. So the media itself has their own rules and also has their own code ethnics that they will give the news based on their professionalism, ladies and gentlemen. If we don't trust to the journalism, so how can we know the news? How can we educate? How can we be the educated one through the information from the journalists, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you.
Thank you, Yei and Kediri. The member of opposition spent 7 minutes. The member of opposition spent 7 minutes. To close the case from the government side of the House, we'll invite the government whip, Yei and Sorong. Time and place is yours.
My voice is clearly.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the honorable educator for the opportunity given to me. Here I'm the opposition. I'm the government whip. Sorry, I'm the government whip. So here I will bring the conclusion about this debate. But before that, I want to rebuttal about the opposition team said earlier. They say if the media report the terrorism acts, they just want to give an information. But if the media reported that, even though the purpose are to give the information, but the information can spread up the afraidness among the society. So media better not to report that to make peace in the society. And there are so many another reason why the media should not to report that. As my parents say and the Prime Minister said earlier, so I'll make the conclusion here. The first reason that because the media will be the propaganda tool, that media spreading the news, that the news will be used as the propaganda tools with the people who don't have the responsibility. So the second, that because of the reported terrorism act by the media, that will make another group motivated to do a same thing. And then the third, that because if we reported or the media reported the case of the terrorism, that will make the terrorists feel happy, that feel enjoy because they are waiting.
POI, please.
No, thank you. And then the fourth reason is because of the enthusiasm of the report that will make the terrorists, that will make the people who do the terrorism feel enjoy it, and possibly they will do another terror in another place in another time. So the another reason is if the media reported the terrorist act, that will make people afraid to pray or go to the pray place like the government member said earlier. The Muslim society afraid to go to the mosque because of the terrorism act in the place. And then the terrorist acts can make the average spread out in the society. So people will afraid to go out of home, to go to school, or maybe for work or
Your eye, please.
another island. No, thank you. So because of that, the terrorist act
please.
reported, no, thank you, in the media as because because to get or to make peace in society. If we say about the awareness, I think the terrorist act always happen every time and everywhere. So without we see the media or the media report or news or etc. We can be aware about that too, even though we didn't see or didn't hear about the report. So if you say about the awareness, the media give the information, give the society, build up the society awareness. But even though
Your eye, please.
no, thank you. We didn't hear, didn't see the information from the media. We can build up our awareness because the terrorism always used everywhere and everywhere. I think they're all for me. Thank you for the time.
The government whip in 18 seconds. To close the case from the opposition side of the House, please welcome the opposition whip, Yayan Kadiri. Time and place is yours.
Am I audible?
Yes.
I'm the second speaker of the closing opposition. The media should not report or comment upon terrorist acts, and we disagree with this. We see that terrorism is harmful, so we should keep up the awareness. I would like to rebuttal for the opening government. First, media as propaganda tool. As the example is Bali bombing. Ladies and gentlemen, how could we know? How could we learn? How could we be better and educated citizen without knowing the actual event or news, especially crime, and in this case is terrorism? We have to be the educated citizen. We have to know the actual news. We have to know what happens out there. How could we know that this harmful thing about the terrorism, without the sharing news, without show up on news, how could we know about that? And the second rebuttal is from the opening government, that terrorism is happen in certain time. Ladies and gentlemen, the government side is ambiguous and sounds confused. On the other hand, the closing government stated that terrorism is happening in habitual or in the daily life. Because the terrorism is not ladies and gentlemen, the terrorism is not a habitual case or even or event. So we have to share and acknowledge ourselves about it. How our young generation know this action is wrong. How our young generation understand about the terrorism without showing on news. Which action is how we prevent the terrorism without acknowledge ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. And the third rebuttal is for the opening government and closing government that stated media influence citizens to radicalism and join the terrorism. Ladies and gentlemen, by the International Assembly, media professional has strict rules. First, developed through their professional organization a code of conduct for journalists, photographers, and editors dealing with terrorist acts and threats in order to keep the public informed without contributing unduly to the impact of terrorism. And the second, as my partner has well referred, organized training courses for media professionals and at increasing awareness of the sensitive nature of media reports on terrorism. This by this rule, we can prevent ourselves from hoax, and the media will not share any hoax news because they have strict rules from the
from the international professionals. And the third rules is cooperate between themselves for intent through their professional organization in order to avoid or raise for consequential news or image which plays into the hands of terrorists. Ladies and gentlemen, the media has strict rule of avoiding contributing to the aims of terrorists by adding to the feeling of public fear which terrorist acts can create, or by offering terrorists at a platform. Media will not giving any fear feeling to the citizen for as the viewer, or they will not feel fear, they will feel safe, they will be educated from the media that shows terrorism from the professional perspective. So the one who's speaking in the news or in the media is not someone who has no knowledge. The one who is speaking is the professional ones. So the citizen will understand well and will prepared for the future crime. And as well as refrain from disseminating shocking pictures or images of terrorism which violate our privacy and human dignity of victims or contributed to the terrorism effects of such acts on the public as well as the victim or their family. So the privacy here, ladies and gentlemen, the media will save the privacy for the victim, for the family members of the terrorists. So there will no any threat for them. Also avoid aggravating through their news and comments the social tension underlying terrorism, and in particular to refrain from disseminating hate speech. So for those who afraid to speak up about terrorism, they will be safe, ladies and gentlemen. The media will save them. The media will take care for the privacy. And for the fifth rebuttal, ladies and gentlemen, the opening government stated many examples of terrorism groups. How could they know about the example of terrorist groups without knowing from the media, ladies and gentlemen? So we as the young generation, we have to acknowledge ourselves about the terrorist origin, about their purpose, about what they want to do the terrorist acts. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to understand our state. We are living in 2021, ladies and gentlemen. Where is media? Is spread everywhere. Where is media? Is the place where we share our feelings, where we share our news. So we can prevent we can prevent anything to be shown in the media, especially for terrorists. The one that we have to do is to educate ourselves, to know that which news is verified, which news is not false, by knowing the media itself. No, thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to sum up. The media is the place where people can be educated, where we can learn from our past by knowing by showing the terrorist acts. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to aware about ourselves, about neighborhood, about our relatives, by knowing about terrorism the media. So we have to be modern for the young generation. So I close the case. Thank you.
The opposition whip spans 6 minutes and 36 seconds. 6 minutes and 30 seconds. That's the end of our debate today. The semi-final round uses the ranking system, so the winner will not be directly announced by the end of the session, but we will allow the representation of the education to deliver feedbacks for around 5 minutes. The feedback may be started with Bu Sharifah Dahlia.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, I found that some of you really know the facts, yeah, have strong argument points, yeah, and you have already followed the structure of the argument. And also you have expressed strong argument, and I'm happy for that. But maybe some of you need more organized in expressing your ideas especially in delivering the evidence, yeah. And also, some of you may need to have more convincing. You need to strengthen with explanation and then try to persuade the audience that your argument is reasonable. Yeah, so that's the point. And another one, I think I already mentioned it yesterday, that be wise in using your text as you deliver the message to the opponents. Yeah, so it is important to have eyes contact with your opponent. So just limit it to read the text. Okay, thank you very much. I think that's all.
And now from Bu Rosita Tandos. Bu Rosita, you're still muted.
Okay, congratulations again for all of you. You've done your best so far, and from the first one till now. And then I'm quite familiar with your face, some of you. Yeah, this topic is not easy, but at the first time I thought you cannot really explore, but all of you successfully to talk about this topic. But like Bu Sharifah say, some of the team can elaborate more about the topic. So the strategy is not just debate. You have to make a good strategy. Okay, if you can pass this round, continue to the final one, make sure that both of you can work together. Again, I say, work together. You have to have equal capacity in understanding the topic to make a brainstorm of the idea. So then you all the first three things you have really clear a definition, argument, and what this kind of rebuttal. Okay, so yeah, so good luck, and I hope you do your best. Thank you.
Bu Rosita. Thank you, Bu Rosita. Now from Pak Henry.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Moderator. Similar to what I mentioned in all sessions yesterday, the participants should consider these things. First, as Ibu Sharifah said before, avoid to spend much of your time looking at your notes because it will impress that you are not well prepared. And second, organize your speech starting with definition, argument, and conclusion. Especially for argument, I would suggest that you stop your argument by information or several perspectives. So not only one perspective, it's quite good, such as economic, politics, ideology, social, historical experience. And then divide the argument with your friend, with your partner. So don't deliver with your and third, maintain your argument according to your position and not move to other position. Meaning that if you are in opposing opposition, then don't give any statement that may impress that you are pro. And fourth, deliver your argument in clear, well-organized, and structured manner. When it comes for you to rebuttal, try to concentrate in weakness of your opponent argument or give another argument more convincing. Well, I think that's all. I wish you luck and proceed to the final round. Thank you. Back to your moderator.
Thank you, Pak Henry. Now that we've reached the end of the session, we would like to thank the honorable adjudicator, debaters, and audience. Thank you very much for attending the session. You may leave the room now, but if you wish to watch the next session, you may enter the room on 2 Western Indonesian time and watch our live on YouTube. For the next team, Sekolah Tinggi Agama Islam Al-Azhar, IAIN Bukit Tinggi, STAI Hubbul Watan, and IAIN Palopo. Please be prepared and make sure you enter the room 15 minutes before the session started. This will be on 2 Western Indonesian time. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.